Welcome to part 2 of your coffee experience. We have just brewed a cup of this beautiful Excelsa from India, and I want to go into detail about Komal and Akshay here, who run Mooleh Manay estate in Karnataka, India.
Hi Akshay!
Can you please let me work?
Yeah, so no, quickly tell us, we have a lot of questions on how we are making these drums. Seriously.
Komal and Akshay, they're not regular coffee farmers. They are almost coffee scientists, I would say. I've seen a lot of videos of theirs where they graft, for example, coffees one on another. Arabica on Robusta roots, for example, and see how that develops taste.
We've done here is we've grafted an Excelsa scion on Robusta rootstock. So at the base we've got Robusta, and here we've got Excelsa. This is about 2 years old.
They're one of the few that specialize in native coffee species, for example, from India, like Excelsa, or to India, I would say, not from India, native to India, which is this Excelsa.
And why Excelsa is important is because we think it is a climate resilient coffee species. Hi everyone, my name is Komal and I'm the co-founder at South India Coffee Company. We work with 30 different coffee producers. We also do research on climate resilient coffee species. Along with Arabica and Robusta, we're working on Excelsa, which is a third species of coffee.
Arabica is being pushed out through climate change from its native environment. And Excelsa, which is a much more robust plant, could be the solution for that. So Komal and Akshay are experimenting a lot on Excelsa trees. And while searching for this resilient coffee that will withstand climate change, actually they've gone back in time, because already Akshay's dad had planted Excelsa on the farm. It was at that time used to mark the borders of the farm and also as a sacrifice tree. You might taste the sweetness of the coffee. Bugs also love the sweetness of this coffee. So the yield is generally low because it gets attacked by bugs, and it needs to be really treated carefully to actually be drinkable for us and not be full of damage. We will get to that part in the Excelsa part in the next part of your video experience. And while we're at it, I want to show you some pictures of Karnataka, India and Mooleh Manay estate. I read around 70% of India's coffee comes from there, and it's the birthplace of Indian coffee. I've read a story online that there was a saint named Baba Budan who returned from a pilgrimage to Mecca through Yemen, and Yemen was guarding coffee as their gold basically, and no seeds were allowed to leave the country. And apparently, according to this legend, he strapped 7 seeds to his body and was able to smuggle them out of Yemen to India and plant them there. And these trees or these plants are the ancestors of all of Indian coffees. How true that is, I don't know. This is what I've read. With Karnataka being such a vital part to Indian coffee culture, it's really interesting that this story exists. I think more than the story, the climate of Karnataka is really cool, because as you see, this coffee is only grown at the height of 900 to 1200 meters. This is very atypical for specialty. We would expect specialty, except for Brazil, to be grown at like 1800 to 2000 meters. But in Karnataka, it is so that first of all, you have a rain season and a dry season. And during the rain season, the coffee gets all the water it needs, but then the dry season triggers the coffee to reproduce because it's stressing the coffee, and then it has a reason to reproduce. The problem usually with these low altitudes is the heat. So coffee needs cool nights to develop properly. And here, the Harangi backwaters help bringing in cold air to cool down the air temperature, and therefore coffee can grow really well in Karnataka. One more fun fact about this: one of my most hated coffees is a monsooned Malabar. It is not because I hate the taste or anything, but I think it's a lot of marketing around monsooned Malabar, and it also comes from this region. So they market it as washed by the monsoon. Coffee doesn't even want that much water and monsoon, and also the heavy winds from the region where monsoon Malabar comes from. It actually impacts the flavor and makes it more earthy and low acidic and very heavy bodied. But you see, you can get it with a more finesse also from the same region. That's just a fun fact that I like to share. And with that, I think I've properly introduced Komal and Akshay. You've seen some videos of them going around their coffee farm. And now, with that said, let's talk about Excelsa. I'm really excited about this one. See you in part 3. Bye.